Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. Another Cruise with Smooth coming up. Before I get into it today, if you like anything I've been talking about, think about giving me a subscribe, like, hit the notification bell if you want to know when stuff goes up. Love to hear from you in the comments section. If you got a question, want to know my opinion on something, and even if it's something I haven't talked about, be more than happy to, even if I had to do a little research to come up with an opinion on something I don't know anything about. So, yesterday was Veterans Day. That's why I didn't post a video. I didn't have to go to work. I got to hang out with my wife and kids. And I just did a lot of thinking and reminiscing of the stories that a handful of my family members that served have told over the years. Pardon me. Both of my grandfathers served. One of my grandmothers was in the USO, and that's how her and my granddad met. I've got uncles that have served. One of them told me a couple stories. And I've got a cousin that has served, and she told me a interesting story, and it's not something you would expect considering where she was. She worked in the mess hall as a cook in the early to mid 2000s when the U.S. was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and there were several times that she'd be cooking and she'd hear bullets plinking off the building she was in, and so she had to take cover away from any windows or doors, preferably behind stuff, while she was in the kitchen. My granddad on my dad's side, this is interesting. He has two bullets that were meant for him. One of them, he was in an anti-aircraft battalion, and so they had half tracks with big guns set up on it, and they'd shoot down German airplanes. Well, one German airplane was making a run on him, and he got the better of this German airplane. He went and ejected one of the bullets out of the machine gun and kept it with him till the end of the war. Another one, my granddad was had been ordered to move between two areas, so go from this place to that place. Well, they're on the road and they're half tracking along, and they come up on a German, and my granddad was standing right behind the twin 50s, just, keeping an eye out. And they come up on a German officer's car that's heading the opposite way down the same road. They met in a bend. The German officer swings his machine gun to try to get my granddad, and my granddad just pulls the machine guns up and obliterates everything about that car and everyone in it. Jumps out, grabs the German officer's machine gun, ejects that bullet, and says, "You don't mess with twin 50s." My other granddad, and I didn't know this till yesterday when we were talking about this stuff. I was talking about it with my mother. He was stationed at Pearl Harbor when it was attacked. Well, the initial attack starts happening, and everybody there starts, running for cover and trying to figure out how to hide. Well, he worked in, and I know supply and logistics. Well, he knew, he starts hiding with them initially, and then he realizes that he knows where all the guns are. And so they go and they start uncrating these guns to start shooting back at the Japs that are attacking Pearl Harbor. So he led the part of the defense of Pearl Harbor at Hickman Field, which was up the hill from the actual harbor, but it's where the U.S. Army Air Force had their runway. So he led the defense of that area. My uncle, he was in Vietnam. He got drafted. And he was an infantryman. He was taking point on this one mission. He is working through elephant grass, is what they called it. I have no idea what it actually is, but it's really thick, stout grass. And he said the easiest way to move through it was to hold your rifle out in front of you sideways, bend the grass a little bit, and then kind of throw yourself on it and onto your rifle and roll and use your body weight to push the grass down. Well, so he's point in his infantry unit, and they are doing this maneuver to this elephant grass. Well, he is doing that out on patrol, and he said, I rolled onto my back and I kept going down, and I fell a good 20 or 30 feet straight down a ravine that I couldn't see due to how thick that elephant grass was. And he's laying there, he kind of stretches and pops and makes sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And he looks up at the guy that was behind him and says, y'all coming down? And he said, I got to sit and relax for a while they were figuring out how to get themselves down to me. So I, even though it hurt for a little bit, it was worth it because I got a break. The other time, when his tour was over, he was out in the field with his buddies, and they had come under attack. Well, a Huey had come in to pluck him out of the field because his service was over. Well, he jumps in the helicopter, they go to take off, and they start taking fire. He runs out to one of the door-mounted machine guns because he's going to start returning fire with the gunner that's part of this helicopter crew. The gunner grabs him and slams him down on the floor and says, you're going home, sit down. And he's laying there on his stomach as they're taking fire and the gunner's returning fire. And he said, I could feel the bullets bouncing off the underside of the armor on that helicopter. Those are the more interesting stories that I know that have come from my family that were veterans, that are veterans. Most of them have died. And when we got talking to my kids yesterday, I said, you know, for the past 30 years, there have been a few instances where there have been military or armed conflict between the United States and other areas of the world. But no, and I'm not diminishing what any of our troops have done in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places that I don't even know the names of. But as far as the numbers of troops committed to military action, there hasn't been a sizable force committed against the United States, and the United States hasn't committed a sizable force to a given action. But I got talking, I said, even the guys that, say they were in the 90s after Desert Storm, between Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom and any other operation that took place in Iraq and Afghanistan, say they went in 96 and were out in 2000, they didn't see nothing. But I said they probably had seen and heard the kind of stuff that they could be signing up for. And so even if they had, you get transferred to various bases and do various jobs, and they got, their entire time was spent doing jobs and drilling. They never had to engage in combat. I said they knew the distinct possibility that they could be sent on deadly missions where they might not come home. And I said, so even the people that were in at the most boring times to be in the armed forces, and the people that didn't do anything, and I use that term as loosely as I can, they were still willing. And I know I didn't sign up. I know one of my brother-in-laws didn't sign up. I know my sister didn't sign up. So, just something I wanted to talk about since yesterday was Veterans Day and I was absent. So, it's kind of all I got for today, folks, at least on this one. Y'all stay safe. Thanks for tuning in to another Cruise with Smooth. Catch y'all next time.